Good morning, brother. How's everything going this morning, bro?
Nonstop like always. Trying to do a million and one things.
Yeah, man. Trying to do a million and one things.
What's going
Trying
on
to
with
do
you?
another day in paradise, man. Another day in paradise.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, this week been particular interesting. These past several weeks because no matter what game you're in, my market's been acting a little weird. They're slower to get back with me on quotes, so a lot of people been slipping through my hands,
Mm.
and it's
Mm.
like seeing money walk by. But I mean. All you can do is every day get up the same way you get up and try to improve each day. Try to work on the systems. Try to, fix what you can fix, seal what you can seal, heal what you can heal. That's all you can do, bro.
Nah, I feel it, bro. That's exactly what's going on. It's just you just gotta take it day by day, man. Like that's the best thing I do is just take
Yeah,
it day by day and whatever challenges is happening today, you just take care of it in that day.
yeah,
That's the only thing you can do, man. You can't, it's in this business, man, there's so many moving parts.
hmm,
So it's kind of like you get to a position to where all you can control is
yeah,
yourself. That's it, man. You can't control nobody else in this industry, man. The way you move, everybody else don't move how you move.
yeah,
And I started
yeah,
to come to realization of that it's like, man, I can't even get mad or upset because people aren't like me.
yeah,
There's so many moving parts in this industry, man, and there's so many people you got to deal with, and that's what kind of gets like it does get frustrating, because it's like whether you're working with a mechanic or you or a driver or insurance, brokers, or DOT, everybody moves different, man. Everybody moves. People don't move at a sense of urgency unless it's urgent for them. But if it's urgent
yes,
for you, then they move how they want to move.
yes,
So
yes.
it's um it's one of those situations, man. It's just like it's just that's just how this industry is, man. You can't control, like how you say it's what do you say, control the controllables. You
All
know
the
what I'm
controllables,
saying?
man.
Control the controllables, bro. Like that means control yourself and what you do. But everybody, you just can't get frustrated on how people are moving, man. Because people don't move the way we move,
Yeah,
man. And that's what I've been seeing in this industry, man. Is just there's so many moving parts, and everybody move at their own speed unless they need something from you right away.
I think
Um,
that's entrepreneurship, though, man. I think, like, let's say if you were a restaurant. You might have a specific burger you sell,
mhm.
and now that meat is gone or that meat is went bad, and now you got to move a certain. It's all about we talk about pivoting and stuff, man. It's just for me, it reinforces my belief in God. It brings me closer to God because I can control the controllables, and shit still don't work out the way I want it to work out, dude.
Right.
You know, so. Gotta stay prayed up. You gotta keep your faith up. You know, it's a battle.
Yeah, yeah. It's a battle, man. And I told I'm really I talked to my wife. I said I'm trying to be the person. The way I want my business to be ran is I want it any business. That's this business, my trucking business, Parliament. Any other thing that I'm working on. I want to be the person that gets paid first.
Yeah,
That's what I've been struggling with because that's serious, bro.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you look at all these things that's in the world, and you look at it, you like the people that get paid last, you're not really super successful. If
true.
you look at all the big companies, those companies get paid first,
Hmm.
whether that's Amazon, whether
True.
that's any type Oracle software, education,
Hmm.
you know, you get paid first and then you get the service.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like it that I do the service and then I gotta wait to get
Mm.
paid. So for me, I struggle with that
Hmm.
because you know you work so hard and there's so many fees and running a having trucks. They want to hit you with the "I'll pay you later" or this or that, so you can put yourself in a bind with that. So like right now, for me, like I said, I'm in a season of decreasing and increasing, and then doing things that you get paid first.
Yeah.
You know, um, that's a huge, that's the reason. Well, that's one of the reasons why I started Parliament, man. Parliament obviously it's going to do great things for our industry, going to help truckers and everything out. But it's education.
Yeah.
See, when you look at education, man, any education that you look at, you pay first, then you get the education. That's just anything. Universities, trade schools, you know, um, a lot of schools is like that, man. So it's like, how do you put yourself in a position to get paid first and then do a service?
Yeah.
That's like, as far as an entrepreneur, that's what you have to look at, because it's easier. Think about it, if I got a trucking company, I understand why people don't do it in trucking. Well, some places do, but you be able to get the money, then you be able to run your operations more efficient because you got the money,
Yeah.
But I know they can't do that with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's what I've been thinking like past couple of weeks. It's like, I'm just tired of being paid last. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, all right, so what do I work on, and what do I put myself in a position to do? And that's what it is, man.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the difficulty with it is whenever you're a boss, that's always. But I understand what you're saying. It's the actual business structure.
Yeah.
You certain businesses, like you said, whether a barber, whether you're, and then even though the barber get pays up on service, we know the barber got the lights, we know the barber got the shop, we know the barber got
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But you get paid once you go in there. I mean, yeah, I'm with it. I mean, but the thing about it is, you don't use factoring companies.
So I would love to use my factoring company with my direct shipper, but they don't want to work with factoring companies.
That's why
So
I lost my shipping.
so um, that's one of the big things. Is like,
Hmm.
here I'm doing all this work, and I'm giving you guys my fleet,
Hmm.
and we doing our thing. But then it's just,
I hated that part about it too. I see what you're saying.
yeah, because there's a lot of costs, bro.
Yeah,
Like, no matter how much money you got, it's still a lot of costs,
yeah.
and it's not like you guys are paying me a premium. Like, all right, we're gonna pay you extra because you are waiting.
Hmm.
So that, like I said, that type of stuff gets on my nerves. I ain't gonna lie. I had a post. I probably did maybe a week or two ago. I said, because I was just like frustrated. I was like, it's crazy. How do you ask me what a load is and rush me or put pressure on me, but then when I ask for my money, y'all be like, oh, it'll get there when it get there.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
yeah,
you lucky that I got the load. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's, you start to have those thoughts, man, and it's just like, it just doesn't make any sense. And that's one of the reasons why, I know a lot of people don't like brokers and stuff,
Hmm.
but I understand why we got brokers.
Yeah.
I do understand why we got brokers, because that middleman is able to get
Hmm.
factoring, be approved for factoring. They don't mind working with factoring, and their cost is way lower.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's just weird, man. It's just like I said, I'm not saying every shipper's like that, but a lot of the big ones are.
Yeah.
But that's just one of the things that I'm looking at in the business. I'm just like, I want to be paid first. I had somebody was telling me, like, bro, you got the truck, just have a moving company, just do straight moves. Like, you got the trucks. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, the best thing about it is they pay you before you even start. I'm like,
Yeah.
interested. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but yeah, man, just, it's a great business to get into. But you got to look at everything and look at your finances. But, the more and more trucks you get, it goes up, right? The costs, and all that. So, yeah, man, just one of those things. Just, those thoughts I have, man, it's just like, okay, you know, but yeah, man.
I know. I 100% agree with you. I want to add something in there too, and you're talking about just the traditional fixed costs. What about just supply shit and trucking? your money need to be current all the time, like
Mm,
because you got bills all the time. It's
correct.
almost like you need a continuous fluctuation of cash flow in this business, and if you don't
Right.
have that, a good shipper, and I mean, I'm sorry, a good factoring company, and if you don't have that, you better have a good broker you're dealing with,
Right.
because you need your money quick, man. You don't need to. Nah, bro. That was one thing I hate about it too. And then even with factoring companies, um, they can get caught up and they can hold your money up too. And
Yeah.
it's even more nasty when they hold your money up. It's
Well,
nasty.
because they held up all your money.
Yeah, and they got a
Everything.
lien against your business where you can't go with another factoring company.
Right. So that's one of the things I talked about because I did a video and I put it in Parliament talking about factoring companies.
Mhm.
Talking about the lingo and everything and what to look out for. And what people don't understand is one of the big things about that is you got to get a letter of release. So a letter of release is something that you need if you leave a factoring company to go to another one. You need a letter of release.
Mhm.
And the one thing about these factoring companies, they do work together. So they're like, all right, I can't work with you
Mhm.
unless I get a letter of release. So that's one of the big things. It's like stuff like that. It's like um, you have to have that letter of release, and it's hard to get. And the way they make you get that letter of release is they put you in a bind because they be like, all right, we are basically waiting for payments for the remainder of your loads.
Mhm.
But then in that meantime, you shouldn't factor anymore because if you do, that just continue to put that timeline back. So a lot of people don't know that. And then as I think about it, I'm like, so the thing that I don't understand is like for a letter of release, you're talking about the invoices that I already did. So why can't I go to another shipper or another factoring company and do my future invoices because we're not talking about my past invoices. So it's kind of like a continuous cycle that they put you in
Mhm.
to keep you there. You know, they get their money pretty fast, but they won't tell you that they got their money pretty fast. So they'll use that 30 or 60 or even 90 days just to say we're waiting on still getting paid.
Mhm.
And all they're doing is when they do that is basically to keep you in the loop to get you hungry to be like, I got to factor these loads to make this money. But at the end of the day, I don't feel that is right as far as our community. It all comes down to the shippers.
Mhm.
The shippers have the money to pay
Yeah.
us. So why do we need a factoring company? The shippers get paid,
Mhm.
right? Like I work for a big company. They get paid from the customer
Mhm.
to pick up their stuff and do all that. So how is it that you don't have money to pay us and we have to wait? You already got paid.
Yeah.
If you already got paid, then why are you taking so long to pay us?
Yeah.
Now that's what I feel is not right.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be illegal because a lot of these services, a lot of these big companies, they have the money. You guys have the money, and you're going to make us wait to get paid. But you already got paid from the customer. You already made that transaction. So how is it you made that transaction, but when we deliver, you telling us we got to wait a net 30, net 60, net 90?
Mhm.
I don't think that's right.
Yep.
I think that's one of the messed up things about our industry is that, man. It's like it all comes down to the shipper. The shippers have the money. These are the customers, and it all comes down to them. It comes down to, hey, we got the money, so when you deliver, we're gonna pay you.
Mhm.
I don't understand how that is like far fetched. You know, if we deliver a load for a big shipper, then you guys should definitely be able to pay us right away. Like, how is that hard?
Mhm.
That's not. You already got the money. You already
Yeah.
got paid from the customer. So that's like one of the things that I struggle with, and I'm very like logical, and it's a logical situation. It's like you already got paid. Why are you making me wait to get paid when you already got the money in there?
Yeah.
You guys worth billions and millions of dollars, but you telling me you can't pay me when I deliver a load for your company that you already got paid for? That don't sit right with me. Those are things that I question, and I think those are things that everybody in our industry should question, especially on the trucker side and the owner operators and the company owners. We should definitely question that because that's not right.
Yeah.
We should get paid for our service. Those people in those offices are getting paid every day. So why can't we get paid when we deliver a load on time and get it there safely? Why do we have to wait a month, 2 months? Like that doesn't make any sense. It
Yeah.
makes no sense at all.
Those net 30s. What's going on, CDL Shorty? How you doing today, brother?
What's up,
What's
big
going
dog?
on? Sorry I was late, y'all. I was on a business call.
Perfectly
Are you good?
fine, bro. Um, Yeah, those net 30s, those net 60s, I feel like they're also can be viewed as like some kind of safeguard to kind of separate the more stable companies than the others. Because in theory, if you can work 30, 60 days, you're perhaps more stable than a company that can't wait, supposedly. But I understand how fluid the industry is. And I also want to say one thing before I'm going to let CDA go off. A lot of times, my issue was when I had my contract that we had more or less recently. I had factoring in is within my broker was within my shipper to where they their service they used to send me my bill wells had a part where I could factor loads and it'd be totally independent, which was cool. But at the same time, they didn't want me to use my factoring company. They hated my factoring. So, and rightfully so. But I would say this on your end, nowadays you're seeing a lot more companies go out of business because they can't wait. So
Yeah, for sure,
it's like it has a good and bad effect.
for sure.
Yeah.
But and that's what I say. I don't feel, and that's why I said, I know people talk about brokers. I know
Mm-hmm.
brokers. We everybody has problem with brokers, but you have to look at the shipper. The shipper is a person you got to look at in our industry because they're the ones that's not being as proficient as they can be, as they
Yeah.
need to be. But they're the ones that's want this stuff delivered on time. They're the ones that's calling you. They're the ones that's putting the pressure on you. But then when you say, okay, cool, I'm here, I've delivered. Oh, you got to wait. Why do I have to wait? Well, I'm like, that doesn't make no sense for me to wait. If I'm working hard, then I should be getting paid as soon as we deliver. I guess I don't understand it. And I think the shippers are using the brokers as a shield. And I'm piercing through that because I work directly with shippers, and it's really like, no, you got to start looking at the shippers. I'm not saying every shipper is like that. There's some shippers that do, pay you faster or maybe
Yeah.
pay you a week or whatever. But if you're working with a big company that has millions and billions, you would think they would be able to pay you faster, but they pay you the slowest.
Yep.
But then those are the ones that's like blowing you up and saying, "Hey, when you gonna be
Yep.
there?" Or what is this?
Hold your feet to
When
the
is that? And it's like,
fire,
"Hey,
man.
yeah." And then when I'm gonna get paid? Oh, well, you got to wait. Why do I have to wait? I got 5, 6 trucks. Why do I have to wait? You like me, so let's get this money right. That's the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing. But that's for me. I'm like a very logical person. I'm like, yo, that's just not right, bro. Like, I don't understand why it takes so long to pay the people that delivering the stuff. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me.
How you feel about CDL?
Oh no, I second, everything Marcus just said. I
Where
feel
you
the
get that
same
hat
way.
from?
Huh?
Marcus,
I
that
got,
hat?
yeah, I got to
Oh,
see you
I
at
got
too,
connections,
Alante.
brother. Hey,
I
hey,
got to
look,
see
don't
you.
worry about it. Don't
I
worry
gotta see
about
you one too. I know I gotta see you one too. I looked at my hat. I looked at yours. I said, I gotta see the latte hat. Damn. Send me
Hey,
your
hold
address.
on, man. I was going.
Yeah.
I see
Send me
CDL on
your,
the thing. I said, you know what? I got CDL got a video of that. That's what I'm
I
anyway.
know. You know what? Send me your address when we get off, and I'm gonna go. I
it.
got before my appointment. I'm gonna go pick up a hat, and I'm gonna mail it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna mail it to you today, brother.
Y'all left her ganged up. Okay, I ain't mad at you. That's a good laugh, man. That's a good
but
laugh.
But
But
no, I second everything Marcus said, man. It is. It's these shippers. If you want to pull back the curtain, it's the shippers. First of all, what shippers do is they pin carriers against each other. They say, and rightfully so, it's a business tactic, but they say, hey, who can take this for the cheaper
Right.
freight or the cheapest load?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when you pull back the curtain, it's the shippers. But also, the brokers got a good part in it too
Yeah.
because they're the ones that bid high and sell low.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
For
yeah,
that
yeah.
reason. But back to waiting. I feel like because my shipper used to want me to work 30 days too, and I'm like, I ain't trying to wait 30 days to get paid, bro. I got bills right now.
Correct.
30 days is a long time,
Correct.
especially for big chunks of money. But I mean, I want to say it's the nature of the beast because they're in position. When somebody in position, you're going to them for freight. They set the terms.
Yeah, that's why I was telling people, and not to cut you off, Alante, but I was telling people to when they start dealing with these brokers, one of the things they need to start asking,
Hmm.
major question is, what is the brokerage fee for quick pay?
Hmm.
Because they can do quick pay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the average broker fee should be between 1% to 5%. You got some of these cats out there that's charging 13% for quick pay.
Yep.
So how if you charge 13% for quick pay for your brokerage fee, then the truck stop is gonna charge me X amount of percent to cash that comp data check.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how much am I
That's
making?
what I'm saying. Everybody has a hand in your money, and that's what it is. That's the thing. And I think when I'm gonna start putting on Parliament, I'm gonna put shippers on there. You know,
Ooh.
I think that'd be great too because you get to see what their terms are, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you get into a situation and before you trying to work with a shipper, and they take 30 to 60 days to pay you, you're not gonna work with that shipper. There's no
Right.
point, And I think and that's what I'm saying. And yeah, the brokers take their fee, then you got to cash a check. They take their fee. Everybody got their hand in your pocket, because the main company doesn't want to pay you when you deliver the load.
Right.
So they're taking advantage. The truckers, owner operators, company owners, we're getting taken advantage because of the main shipper don't want to pay us when we deliver that load.
Yeah, and look, don't get me started with broker detention pay. These brokers will literally argue you down. If you've been sitting there over 3 hours, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hours, these brokers will argue you down to try to negotiate detention pay. It's like, no, give me what I've been sitting for.
A little shameless plug. I'm over here. I've been so convoluted and busy in weird spots. I have spots where I'm just not doing nothing. I'm twiddling my fingers and then I'll disperse the business. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew before I got on live, I said, watch everybody start emailing me, calling me, because I've been
Oh, that's what
dead
happened.
all morning.
That's what's going on with me right now.
Like I got two phones and this one. People just hit me. I'm like, so I told myself I want to give good content. So I want to look in the camera. I want to sit straight. I want to do all these things.
Yeah.
But I'm getting real live numbers right back. I got a guy, and this is probably gonna plug in. I got a guy right now, 2 truck unit. This is a good quote. I got him all in. He's gonna be paying about for 2 trucks about 2,400 a month.
That's not bad.
Not bad for two
2,200 a month.
for
Twenty-two
two
hundred a month for two
trucks.
trucks.
That's not bad.
Everything. Full coverage, physical damage, cargo. I got him all in for it. And I try to tell people, this is a pivot. How valuable clean drivers was. In the beginning, I met him. He had bad drivers, accidents. One of his drivers he had to get rid of because the dude was smoking weed and he got pulled over. Just typical
Just
Mm-hmm.
dumb stuff.
nonsense.
Dumb stuff.
And I worked with him. He got rid of the drivers. His quote was like 50,000. I got him 27,000 for the year. Those
Right.
numbers matter.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about, when we're talking about the problems with the shippers, it kind of goes back, to the first thing, like, are we controlling our controllables? Not your situation, but everybody
Yeah.
else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we controlling the controllables? Are we controlling our margins correctly? And the first thing about controlling our margins to me is controlling the drivers and controlling the safety. And everything else kind of it builds on top of that. Then you have a more standing ground. You're like, you know what? I'm a good shipper. I'm a good carrier. I got good safety score. I can go anywhere. I don't need you, shipper. F you.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
saying you don't have that.
Right.
I'm just saying the leverage people have when they have their foundation
Yeah.
is solidified.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely margins is everything. Knowing your numbers and that's kind of what I'm learning with these trucks,
Mm-hmm.
right? And learning getting newer trucks with warranties and all that, or leasing trucks. Then you got a hard set margin or you got a hard set cost on your trucks. I'm going through that now and seeing the costs and everything like that. But one thing I want to tell you about this industry that I do not like, and
Talk it.
I went through this couple days ago. So I'm decreasing my trucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so I have an ELD, obviously, and so I'm getting rid of like 3 ELDs because I'm decreasing to like 3 trucks. So I call my ELD. I ain't gonna put them on blast, but I called them and I said, hey, I need to remove 3 ELDs. Send me the address. Send me the case number so I can turn it in and get them off my off what I pay every month. So the lady had nerve to tell me, well, you can't return them. I was like, what you mean I can't return them? Well, your contract is not up till February, so you have to keep them until February. I said, why would I keep them if I'm not using them? I said, that makes no sense to me. I said, look. So then she tried to say, oh, well, I said, look, the representative I worked with, he told me I want a month, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to return them. So you can get these, I can get about $300-$400 off my monthly bill for these EODs, and we're decreasing costs. So basically, I had to tell the lady, she basically was not trying to, I said, look, we can do this one or two ways. We can go ahead and you say, okay, cool, Marcus, we'll return them. All right, cool. I said, or I can use my social media platform and you guys will lose a lot of business.
Yeah.
I said, because how do you have a yearly contract on an industry that changes so rapidly and so up and down? It's not consistent. I said, it's not like it's a cell phone bill, right? I said, if I don't have the trucks, then why do I need the ELD? So I'm going to be paying for something that I'm not using. And then, so that's the one thing about this industry. There's so many people that's trying to lock you into a long-term contract when this business fluctuates so much.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things I talk about in my factoring company. I talk about factoring companies on the video I did. Someone will try to lock you in a year, 2-year lease. I mean, 1 year, 2 year contract. You don't even know if you're going to be in business that long. Yeah. So why are you trying to lock me into that? And then if I try to get out of it or if I don't do business, now you're going to put something against me on my own personal credit. Right? You know, a lot of people don't know that. You know? You don't know that these factoring companies will use you and say, oh, you ain't sending no money, or you got out of business, well, you still owe us a cancellation fee of $1,000 or $2,000. People don't know that. You know? So, and that's why I made this factoring course on Parliament. It's a great course because I talk about everything and the things you need to know and what you need to look at in that contract. It's like stuff like that, man. Like, this industry is so up and down, but there's so many people making money off of you that's trying to lock you in for a year or 2 years. It should be month to month, just like how my business is month to month. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, my business is month to month. So why are you trying to lock me in?
Short-term contract.
Yeah.
Or short-term, you know.
No, just month to month. I just feel like everything should be month to month, bro. Like, why are you trying to put me, you know, like my trailer leases is month to month. Perfect. So if I turn in the trailer, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping, you know? But I just feel like there's a lot of things on the outside in our industry that you look at, you like, man, why is everybody trying to put these year contracts, these 2-year contracts? It makes no sense. But that's just how this business is. But it's up to us to say, no, that's not right. Like, you know, that's what it all comes down to, is saying, no, I don't want to do that. They'll change it.
Yeah.
They'll change it if truckers, owner-operators, and company owners be like, nah, we're not doing that. ELD, a year contract. No, I want a month to month. If everybody says that, then they have no choice. Trucking has the highest turnover rate in any industry. So why don't the things that we have to pay for allow us to get out of it if we need to, if we go out of business or if we decreasing? It should be just as flexible as our business is.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying yesterday when I made the video, because I'm not sure if you guys seen the video or even heard about the Carrier 411 situation, you know, where they made, after 72 hours, they made the complaint that the broker put on you, they made that permanent, you know. So I feel like over at Parliament, it gives truckers the voice. It gives truckers a voice to, you know, let us be heard and take our voice back, you know, because that's ridiculous. So as well as just brokers, but as well as factoring companies and stuff like that.
Right. We gotta have, as I said, that's the sole reason why I created Parliament, bro, is to give us a voice. That's really what it is, because we don't have a voice. And, you know, you see people complaining on TikTok and all of that stuff. That's cool, but it's still not giving you no information. It's not telling you why this happened or how to avoid it. You know, it's just people complaining, you know. But I'm telling you, Parliament is one of those things that they're going to be scared of it, because they're going to be like, damn, they got information and we can't access it. We can't see what they're talking about. See, that's the one thing people don't understand about social media, bro. They are watching social media. So if truckers are saying, something about one company, that one company is watching and seeing what everybody's saying, and then
Right.
they'll pivot or adjust a different way. So
Right.
when you have your own system that's not really, posted on social media like that, but it's an information system, that's gonna scare them, bro. That's gonna put them in a position to be like, okay, they got information now. And so, like a
Right.
lot of people don't know about Carrier 411. You talk about it, I talk about it a little bit. People don't know what Carrier 411 is. People, I get messages like, yo, what's Carrier 411? I'm like, yo, you don't know what Carrier 411 is?
I got when I made that video
People don't
yesterday,
know
I
what it
got so many
is.
messages that people don't know what it is either. And I'm like, how y'all in the trucking industry and don't know what that is?
They don't know, man. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, Carrier 411, that can ruin your trucking company before it even start.
For
It takes
Right.
sure.
one person to say something negative about your company, and then that's it. Because the
Yep.
other broker's gonna look at it and they're gonna be like, "Oh no, I ain't messing with this. I'm not
Yep.
dealing with this."
Yep.
And then they'll say, "Oh, you have a high risk." Nah, it's not no high risk. They're just looking at Carrier 411 and seeing what all the brokers are saying about you, and that's not
Right.
right. You
Right.
know, and that's one. And I'm telling you, that's one of the things that sparked me to create Parliament. Was like, that's gonna be our Carrier 411 for us.
Right. That's what I said in the video. I'm trying to get that video to go viral. It's doing some numbers right now.
Yeah, that's good.
I also want to add in with the parliament, if you can add in the community fraud protection
Yep.
Mm.
for drivers.
Yeah.
Because I recently, me being in insurance, one of my friends, he's a trucker as well. He recently had a claim on his insurance, but somebody got an accident under his authority. It went him.
Yeah.
And he we went through the process of data queue and how to dispute it with the FMCSA, because it was a pretty bad accident. Somebody had his name of his company on the side of his truck, and they had a loss. So how do you prevent fraud? How do you how do you respond to fraud? What are you guys gonna do when you get that phone call, like somebody been and of course you're innocent, but you gotta prove you're innocent.
Correct.
You gotta prove
Yeah.
it. So, and in the meantime, is this going to affect your authority? You know,
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
you move?
Yeah. Well, after 72 hours, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, and
Now.
that's the thing when you're talking about the trucking industry. They say in the trucking industry, oh, it's going to be less of this and this and this, but people try to blame it on the truck drivers. You try to blame it on the trucking companies. It's the people on the outside that's ruining this industry. It's the people that's not doing the day-to-day work. It's the people creating softwares that do too much and charge so much money. It's the people that are renting out these trailers and then you turn them in and they want to tell you, oh, you got to pay us $3,500 to fix something on the trailer because you turned it in the wrong way. It's stuff like that, man, that you don't have the information to understand to do it,
Mhm.
right? Like
Right.
I'm working on a thing today because I went through this recently. I rent my trailers. The people are there cool, but one time I returned one. My buddy was using, we returned it. Great condition. They try to hit me with a $3,500 bill. I said I'm not paying that. Flat out said that. I said I'm not paying that. I said because what you're doing, I said fixing the DOT sticker tape, saying this is bad, saying this is bad. I said you ain't give me no pictures, no nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they was like, oh, well, let's go back and check. Oh, yeah, you good, Marcus. Don't worry about it. I said, okay, cool. But that let me know right there that's shicey. You're doing shicey stuff. Because
Yeah.
I'm that 1 out of 10 that fights it. So imagine they said the 9 people that did it, they'd have made 30 grand off of 9 people that didn't fight it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, I pay that. So now what I do now, like I'm returning the trailer today. I got my shop who's nationally, like they got a national certification to do inspections,
Yeah.
right? I have
Yeah.
them do the inspection, have it on paper, document everything. They told me like, hey, we got to fix this. We got to fix one thing on there, and you good. I said
Right.
great. And then once I get that, I fix that. So I got to pay like $400 to get that fixed. Return the trailer with the paperwork. It's already been inspected by somebody that's certified, not Joe Blow off the street. They have a certification in California. Here's your docket number. You can look it up. And here's the paperwork. And that's the thing that people need to know and learn, right? So you're gonna learn that in the Parliament group. Hey, I need to return a trailer. What should I do? This is what you should do. You know what I'm saying? Like, here you go. Here's the information. But that's how you fight that, man, because there's so many people making money off our industry that's not in our industry. That's the crazy part.
Right.
Yeah, speaking back to the factoring company situation, people don't know how deep their ties run. I had an exceptionally bad experience with my factoring company, like exceptionally bad. Years of good business, and I want to say their name, but I'm afraid I'm gonna get sued. Like we ain't that big yet, but
You got to
it
put it
was
in
tabs.
Parliament, though. Did you put it in Parliament yet?
we talked about it. Remember that?
Did you put it in Parliament
No,
yet? Put
but
it in Parliament.
you asked me, I text you. That was
Did you
like
put
our
it in there, though?
first conversation.
Did you put it in there? I gotta. Do I have to still give you? I gotta give you the login to do the ratings because you can.
I'm not sure. I know I logged in last night, and
You logged in on the affiliate side, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we gotta go over that. We'll go over it
Yeah,
later
we
on
gotta
today.
go over it. We
Yeah,
gotta go over it. We gotta go over it.
if you can
But long
put
story
that in,
short,
put that in the thing, bro. I'm telling you.
bro. So not only so my period of my contract ending is that they have a period of ascension. So what it is that so let's say my contract in August. April of that year, 6 months earlier, have to send them an email or mail it saying, "Hey, I don't want you guys to be I'm terminating the contract."
Correct.
If I send it in a day after that, they don't have to honor it. It's part of the contract. So a lot of times, guys just out here running and they're like, "Yeah, man, next year I'm gonna get rid of my factoring company." They don't even understand. They need to be already planning that at the first part of the
Well, in
year.
advance.
You need to go ahead and yeah, you need to worry about Christmas in January, bro. Like that's how deep it is. You need to because if you don't, they can fight. They can make it hard for you to go to other companies. They can make it where you got to get bought out. It is a nasty. They can ruin your business. That more than anything, we talk about drivers, but ain't nothing worse than somebody playing with your money. You got 8, 10, 12, 15,000 somewhere. You can't touch it.
Well,
You got to make up your mind.
that's what I'm saying. That's why you need that information to know how to deal with
Yeah.
that if you're gonna use a factoring company.
Mhm.
I have a factoring company. I use them on some broker loads, but they're not my main source of income. Um, and I don't even try like they do what they do, and I don't even try to look at it like my factoring company like 2.5%, right? People would be like, "Oh, that's high. You should go over here." They do 1%. I'm like, bro, that's not even a big, huge money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not worth me doing all of that for 1%. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to stop doing this and then go over here, fight with them. I said it's not even worth it. You know? And some people look at it like, "Oh, I'm making more money." Like, bro, 1%, 2% is not a huge deal. You got to look at there's other factors you look at in the factoring company that's really more important than that. You know, but it goes also too. It goes back to working with the shippers, though. These shippers need to be paying you right away. You wouldn't need factoring companies. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't need them. But it just feel like everybody's on a loan. It's like
Yeah.
just everybody. Every time you go through a certain channel, that's less money out your pocket.
Yeah.
Less money, and you're like, why am I making less money? So these people are making money and they're not doing the work. I told my wife, I said, look, if I ever get into a position to have money like that, I will have a factoring company. Factoring company is the best, is the lick because they take no risk. They're just a bank. They're just a bank.
Yeah.
What
It's crazy.
What's funny is that I might end up getting into that. I kind of know a few things. I'm starting to learn about factoring company and finance companies. One of the guys who used to mentor me, he got an insurance company, he got a factoring
Yeah.
company, and I was like, how did he do it? I thought he had to put his own money up. Man, this is America, bro.
No, you can get a loan. You can get
Yeah.
a loan.
Mhm.
You can get a loan. I remember somebody was hitting me up. They was like, yo, Parliament, you should have a factoring company. I was like, you never know.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
that's what it is,
Maybe
man.
that's something we can collab on, bro.
Yeah,
We all can
that's
collab
just
on
what
it. Sure.
that's one of those things. Like I said, this industry, man. There's a lot of people that got their hands in your pockets, and if you're not smart enough to, get the education or get that community or be around people that will tell you like, hey, do this or do that, you're gonna get screwed, bro. Like that's just it's gonna happen. Cause there's so many things that you have to worry about, bro. There's so many things that you have to do. It's just like,
Yeah.
bro, if you don't have no guidance, if you don't have nobody telling you, like, this is how you got to do it, you're gonna fail, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's 1,000% gonna happen because you need help.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you need it, bro. You need somebody to tell you, like, okay, this is how you got to do this, and this is how you got to do that. Okay, cool. 'Cause what I'm gonna tell you is gonna save you thousands. So what you paying every month for Parliament to be a part of the community, I'm a 1,000x that on what you gonna save in your business, and it's just like, think about it, bro. Like, come on, like that makes 100% sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I second that.
Yeah, man. The thing about factoring is that it when the money is good in trucking, factoring is sweet. I mean, literally, I was doing about like 180 a month, and I would take a little loan out for like 10 grand through my factoring company, and that loan would be paid off before the month was done.
Yeah,
And I might still have the 10 grand. That's how much my cash flow was. Had people
right.
leased on. I was basically getting fronted up front. But when the money slowed down and the economy got shaky,
Oh,
ooh,
they tighten up.
they
They're
tightened
a
up. They started looking
bank.
at
They're a
everything.
bank at the end of the day. They're a bank.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they gonna tighten up and they're gonna be like, nah, I'm
Hmm.
cool. Now we ain't doing that
Yeah.
because it's a risk assessment. That's all it
Yep.
is.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, we see you making money, but that can stop tomorrow because
Yes.
one thing I can tell you
Hmm.
about banks and financial institutions, they know the market a year to 2 years out. They already know what's
True.
going to happen.
Insurance too.
They already and sure, yeah, they
Yes.
already
Yep.
know. They already
Yep.
know. Like, all right, it's coming. Now we got to start tightening up, or we got to start charging
Insurance and
more.
the banks are in the bed together.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. They're in the
Yeah.
bed.
So, but that's what I'm saying though. So going back to Parliament. So why would you not be a part of a community that can help you navigate
Mhm.
that? That's the crazy part.
Right.
Like
For sure.
that can help you and tell you like, oh, we got Alante. He's in the insurance game. We doing a seminar with him this
For
week. He
sure.
gonna tell us, hey, this is what's going on. This
Hmm.
is
Right.
how we got to do it. This is how we got to navigate. Okay,
I
cool.
want to ask you guys something. In your own perspective, we all got different lanes. I'm gonna start with CDL. And this is just a word of advice because I be thinking about random words of advice during the week that I will give somebody, and I want to start putting them in this just for pocket of content and so we can feed people. Is there any pocket of advice that you can think of perhaps this week that you went through or in the past that you can kind of relate to somebody?
That's actually a good question. Patience is key. And that's in life in general, whether we're doing trucking or whether it's in your marriage or whatnot. So, patience is key. Patience will teach you a lot of things. You know, patience will teach you gratitude. Patience will teach you how to be thankful for certain things.
Right.
Yeah, man. So just patience is key. Just stay patient, and guess what? When your time comes, it's your time.
Mhm. That's a
I
good one,
love it.
bro. For sure, for sure. You Marcus, what's going on? What's a piece of advice that you would give the rest of the people, perhaps about the industry, perhaps about life?
Well, I'll use it in the industry because I'm doing it right now, but it's also in life too. Don't be afraid to decrease to increase.
Mhm.
Mm,
I'm telling you, you can decrease and it will make you increase.
yeah,
Okay. People think when you decrease in one thing, it's going to decrease everything. Even I would think that, but if you decrease in things in your life, even in life, right? You decrease in, how much money you spending on food or going out or this
Mm.
or that. If you decrease in that, your increase is going to come. Same thing in
Mm.
trucking. I'm decreasing a couple trucks, but I'm gonna be making more money, increasing in that way. So don't be afraid to decrease to increase. It
right.
is possible. It can happen. People don't think that, but that's my advice because that's what I've been going through is that decrease to increase, man. Because I'd be afraid. I'd be like, nah, I can't lose these trucks because of this and this and this. But then it's like, hell nah. Because if I sell one truck, that's 50K in my pocket. I
Mhm.
sell
Yeah,
one truck, that's 50K in my pocket, and I don't have to spend 6 to 10K a month on running that truck.
Mhm.
So
right.
don't think that's an increase just right there?
Right.
You know? So that's my
Mm-hmm.
thing is I would say my thing is decrease the increase. Don't be afraid to do it, bro.
Got you. Got you. Hey, I want to shout out my trainer is on here, man. This guy was my trainer slash best friend when I first started trucking. One Life for Love. That's my man. That me and him been rocking with each other since 2015. He actually, when I went to Swift, he was my trainer in Swift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nice to see, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
One life for love. One life for life.
Yeah. One Life for Life. I said One Life for Love. My bad.
Okay. My piece of advice. I want to go deep, but y'all done went too deep, so I can't. I gotta go last. I gotta come behind Steve Harvey and Bernie Mac. I gotta be
Oh.
DL.
Steve
I
Harvey.
gotta be saying, okay, all right, okay. Um, your when you guys are setting up a DOT number, or make sure you guys are putting the accurate cargo you're carrying, because a lot of you guys are setting up DOT numbers. You're checking off, I haul building materials, I haul chemicals, and you might just haul bleach every now and then. You might haul pallets.
Right.
You haul general commodities. This is for entertainment purposes, but you really don't haul. People who haul building materials really haul straight building materials,
Right.
size of houses. People who haul non-hazardous chemicals really haul tankers that maybe have some kind of fluids in them. So you guys, if you're going to get a quote for insurance or you're trying to build your business, make sure you guys are accurately describing your cargo you carry.
Right.
And,
Follow.
that's see stuff like that, man, that's information that's gonna be in Parliament.
Mm-hmm. For
Setting up your stuff
sure.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know probably for insurance it makes a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
If I say
Yeah.
I'm hauling chemicals, I'm really hauling household goods, but my chemical insurance is gonna be crazy
Yes.
because they're gonna be like, oh, you're hauling chemicals. You're like, nah. So why'd you put chemicals?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said, man, like you gotta have education, man. Like
Yeah.
the people are just like I said, you setting up your DOT number and you're starting off bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting off with the wrong thing, and you're already paying a high down payment because you said chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
For
Like you
sure,
gotta.
bro.
I'm really pushing. Like I said, I know we talk about it a lot. I'm always gonna talk about it because I believe in it. But it's like you gotta have the education.
Yeah.
You gotta. Don't be afraid. And people. I was gonna make a post because one guy was like, "Is Parliament free?" I was
I
like,
saw that. I saw
and
that, Marcus. I saw
I
that.
said, and I put it on my story, but I was gonna make a post about it. If you trying to get into something as much money as we spend in this industry, but you asking for free education,
Yeah, man.
don't get in this industry, bro. This is
Yeah.
not for you. This
Yeah.
is not an industry where you asking for free things. That's like me
Mm-hmm.
going to a mechanic and say, hey, can you fix my APU for free? Ain't nobody
Mm.
doing nothing for free. And the way you gonna learn in this industry is I can pay somebody or be a part of a community and get the access that way, or I'm gonna pay on this road when the shit goes up and I don't know what the
Yeah.
hell to do. And
Yeah.
but when you pay on that road, how much you gonna be paying compared to what you could have paid on Parliament when people would have been telling you this is what you need to do from the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree.
put the
I.
put the
I.
cost together.
Yeah. 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 I agree with that, Marcus. I agree with it. I just say, it's just if I'm gonna pay for something, first of all, I want it to come from a legit source.
Correct.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Correct.
because I used to get on people that pay for stuff in the past, but they would pay for it from not a legit
Yeah.
source. From
Correct.
like, okay, what can you teach me, or what can I learn from somebody who doesn't have a CDL? You scaled your business too fast, but guess what? The fact that you don't have a CDL and you losing drivers left and right, what can you teach me besides? Okay, maybe you could teach me some stuff on the business side of it.
Right.
Cool,
Right.
but I
Right.
want the whole pie of trucking.
Correct.
If I'm paying $5,000 to $6,000,
Right.
I want everything.
Yeah,
Correct.
man.
No, you definitely, I definitely, like I said, I definitely agree with that, and that's what you have to know where you're getting your information from,
Right.
right? Even when you're looking on social media and people would jump on a bandwagon or what somebody is saying or what they're doing, but you're not checking their resources. You're not checking how does this person know this? What do they do?
Yeah.
Like you're just following the trend, right?
Right.
A lot of people are followers and they're just saying, well, this person got this, so I'm gonna do it too. But you have to do your research, right?
Right.
You have to be like, hey, is this worth me spending that?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
That's all it
Some guys spend
is.
10.
I I would love to get $10,000. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, but for me, I come from a different place to where it's like, monthly membership, being a part of a community because it needs it.
Yeah.
Some people are paying, $5,000 to $10,000, and they're just telling you that you need to get your DOT, get your insurance, get a truck, and that's it. Some of these courses that they paying for are like this. They're quick. You're
Yeah.
like, damn. I had a buddy of mine that got that course that you talk about, CDL. He got it. And I asked him, I said, how is it? He was like, I ain't really learned nothing. And
No, of
Hey,
course not.
he paid $6,000.
bro,
He paid $6,000.
you so right. You so right. I got a cat right now. Love him to life, man. Love this cat to life. Me and him became good friends and everything. But he called me one day, right out the blue, before I even knew him, and he admitted to me, "Yo, this same dude that you talk about, I bought his course, $5,000."
Right.
Bro, jumped in the truck, jumped in his own truck, right? Because he couldn't find a driver. So that's where the CDL part come in.
Right.
Bro jumped in his own truck. Don't even know, and I love this guy. This is no shade
Yeah.
to him. I'm just telling the story. Bro jumped in the truck, right? Don't even know that he riding down the road with 84,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even know. And then look, didn't even know that the number one rule in trucking is what? After you get loaded, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to immediately find a scale, right?
Yeah, find a
Yeah.
scale.
I talked to old boy. Old boy said he's 6 hours away from where he picked up at with 84,000 pounds.
Yeah.
He sent me the scale ticket. I'm looking at it. I'm like, he was 13,000 over on his steers. He was 38,000 over on his drives, and he was damn near almost 40 on his trailer. And I'm like, what can he do? Can he slide his fifth wheel? Then it dawned on me. It dawned on me. I looked at the gross, and the gross said 84. I said, oh my God. But you spent $5,000 on a course that you admitted to me that you didn't learn shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, when you are getting these courses and stuff like that, you have to understand what are you trying to learn from these courses, right?
Right.
If you're buying this course, is this course going to teach you how to be a good truck driver? It's going to teach you the limits. What is it teaching you? Read the synopsis. Understand. Like my boy, he bought that course, and I think he was learning because he was running a trucking business, and he was like, it was cool, but it wasn't, what is for that worth. But maybe somebody else might have a different view. Maybe somebody else like, man, this is the best course ever. It's really and I feel like if you're gonna pay that money, you
He
need to
does
put
feel
your
like that.
all into it and really make that investment. Because I think sometimes too, people may pay that money and think, okay, cool, I'm gonna be successful. No matter what you get as far as information, no matter what you get from Parliament information wise, or from you CDL Shorty when you helping drivers, or you Alante when you helping them with insurance, they still got to put that effort.
Yeah.
They still
Yeah.
got to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
you still got to be knowledgeable, or you still got to be learning. I think sometimes people be like, okay, I got this, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, bro, you got to keep learning, man. And I feel like, a lot of people shouldn't be jumping in and having trucking companies like that if you don't know the business, if you don't know the limits, like, even as a owner, I have my CDL, but even as an owner, I still need to know the limits. I need to know all this type of stuff as well. But it's just like, sometimes people will buy these things and think that's all they need. But you got to, in this industry, you got to constantly be learning
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
join the community, join a community where you have these weekly conversations where you're the strongest muscle you have is your brain. So you got to be working that brain. You got to be learning to say, yeah, man, I'm part of this. Now I'm learning this. I'm learning this. I'm learning this. But some people think they just get that and it's like, okay, cool, I can stop learning.
Right.
Nah, bro.
Yeah.
Can't.
Right. See, I don't have a problem. See, this is the thing, right, Marcus? I don't have a problem with selling a business
Right.
course. Okay, that's cool because yeah, we do need to learn
Business
business
side.
in this industry. So I got that. My
Yeah.
problem comes from these cats that sell these courses and say they don't need a CDL. Now, where I
Mm.
take offense from it is what? What's the most important thing in trucking? The number one thing that a lot of people forget about: the driver.
Driver. Yeah.
If you don't have a driver, I don't care how much freight you got. I don't care how good of a dispatcher or a broker you are. That truck ain't moving, cuz.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I take offense because it's like, yo, you selling these courses, but you forget about
Hmm.
us.
Right.
I want to say something
You talk
though.
shit about us. That's
Right.
where
I'm gonna
I
slide this in. A lot of these people buy these courses, and I'm sorry, CDL,
no, you
forgive me.
good, brother.
A lot of these people buy these courses. I hit this one guy get insurance. He told me, he said, "Man, yeah, man, I'm paying 10,000 to this one guy. We know him. He help people who are in the flatbed hot shot game here in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and got he got color for her
Yeah, I
sometimes.
know who you talking
Yeah,
about. I know all of them.
yeah. So my barber actually cut the dude. My barber actually is from Texas, and the dude be up here. Long story short, so I see him at the barber shop one day. I'm like, man, what is your program detail? He's like, well, man, I make sure people meet the brokers and stuff. I'm just listening, like I don't know nothing. I'm like, oh, okay. He said, yeah, I put him on the phone and I introduce him. I'm like, damn, that's it. I'm like, oh man. He's like, yeah, I got some really good brokers. Brokers, if you guys are paying people 10,000 to meet a broker, you already felt in life. I'm sorry to say.
You already lost.
Yeah.
You already lost.
10,000.
Yeah, yeah, it be like that though. Like these people really think like they really think that their worth is like up here when it's not. Like
Yeah.
I even talk about fleet owners and like Marcus, you could probably second this, but okay. Number one, this is my take on fleet owners, right? Fleet owners, yes, you do deserve more money than the actual trucker because you do have to take care of more things, but I don't think the profit margin should be way above than the trucker because that's the business part of it. Yes, you have to take care of the IFCA and all of that. That's business. But I'm not talking about you, Marcus. I'm just saying in general. But guess what? That's part of the business. But you as the owner, yeah, you're taking the risk. But guess what? We take more of the risk because we're actually out there dealing with four wheelers that's cutting us off, dealing with inclement weather, stuff like that. So when you say I not you, Marcus, again, but when
You
people
good?
say when people say, "Oh, I deserve more to cut because it's my business and I'm taking this and I'm taking that," it's like, no, you forget it's the business. Those are regular business expenses that you have
Hmm.
to. So you're supposed to deserve $1 million more than me because you're just paying business bills and the business is in your name. I understand you're taking risk, but we're taking risk too.
Yeah.
So am I wrong about that? Like, how do y'all feel about that?
You want to go Alante?
Well,
I'll go
I
after
feel like
Alante.
I feel like as far as like the driver taking much risk as the owner, I feel like that has some merit. I mean, I'm gonna let Marcus go. I'm gonna let Marcus go. I know Marcus about to go off.
No, I ain't about to
He
go
licking his lips.
off.
He's licking his lips.
I'm trying to think about it because I have these conversations with my drivers.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I have one driver specifically. He's a good driver, but sometimes it's a conversation.
Mhm.
And what I say is this, and I usually win with this argument. Okay, yes, drivers, you guys do go through a lot on the road. I would never not account that.
Mm.
Okay, but like you said, without how you say it, without the driver, there is no business, right? But you have
Mhm.
to think about it on the other side too. Without the business, that driver makes no
Mhm.
money. Okay,
Mhm.
so if I don't
Mhm.
have a business, that driver's not driving for me. and he's not getting paid. Okay, the driver does take risk on that road. Yes, I would never not account that. But owning a company, I take more risk than that driver because whatever happens in that truck, whatever happens on that truck, the driver doesn't pay for it. I take a higher financial risk by owning a trucking company. So do I think I should get paid more? For sure. But I made a post today that says sometimes when you own a trucking company, your drivers get paid more than you. And drivers don't understand that. No matter what happens for a company driver, if you're with a good company like myself, right, you're going to get paid no matter what. Your money is not going to get taken away from you. If I have to pay $7,000 for the week, if I have to pay $20,000 for a transmission, when you deliver that load, you're getting paid. So I'm taking when you're taking a high financial risk, that's in any business as an owner, for sure you're going to get paid more because the financial risk is crazy, right? But this is why I tell this, and then when I talk with my driver, I said my company driver, some of them, I say, be an owner operator, and this is what they say: Nah, man, I don't want to be an owner operator. Why you don't want to be an owner operator? Because I got to pay for everything. Exactly.
Yes.
So you know the risk, the financial risk that I'm taking every day. Every day you start up that truck, something can go wrong with that truck, and who has to pay for it? I do. You're not gonna pay for it. I have to pay for it. So yes, owning a company, yes, you should pay your drivers right. You should pay your drivers no matter what, right? So on that side, for sure, take care of your drivers. I definitely believe in that. Take care of your drivers. I don't say screw your drivers. I never screwed any drivers. I take care of them. But as far as the risk, my financial risk is way higher than yours.
Yeah.
Way higher. Like I said, I pay for a 20K transmission, and when my driver delivered, I pay him. I still paid him. I didn't say, hey, man, can you wait till next month? I still paid him. So he made more money than me in that month alone because I had to pay 20K for a transmission.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And a lot of drivers don't understand the fleet owner side. They don't understand, some drivers think that, as a company owner, you just in the office chilling. You ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, man.
You on vacation. That's not
I
true.
wish.
I wish. You know how many times my phone been going off? You know how many times
You probably got a lot on you too.
I just had to get a truck fixed now. Then another guy in my trailer, I got to talk to the trailer people. I got to talk to this person, decreasing. Like my phone is constantly going off. Whereas a driver, yes, you getting shit for those 10 hours. But when you are parked, you can relax.
Yes.
My mind's still going about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who I got to pay? Who I got to do this? What I got to take care of? Is this driver truck cool? To make sure I got money for gas. Insurance is coming up. Got to pay that. My mind is going 24/7. And a lot of company drivers, I don't want to say a lot. Some company drivers don't understand that. And then my rebuttal to that is be an owner operator. And you'll understand exactly what I'm going through. And I go through that with 6 trucks.
So let me ask you this other question. How do you feel, or how do you guys feel about fleet owners that don't have a CDL, that don't have the industry insight that we as drivers have?
Well,
you go, Marcus, or you want me to go?
Oh, go ahead. You go first.
I feel like I used to feel a certain way about it, I'm not gonna lie. But as I grow and I sit back, I understand everybody's position. Some of these guys, if you're in the game to just bleach out truckers and kind of be weird, of course. But some people are, been in the family for generations. Recently, I helped insure this big guy he's out of Georgia. He's a millionaire. He's a multimillionaire. His family been a freight broker for like 50 years, and our age, he don't drive, but he own a trucking company, and it's just how well you correlate to the average driver. I don't think as long as you carry yourself like you can look out and you can be aware of the struggles of your driver, because some people who don't got a CDL, they take care of their drivers and their relationship is there. And they have a family built business around, I'm gonna take care of my people. And some people, you got an FU attitude, but that's in all industries. So I've experienced people recently who don't got a CDL, and they probably are way deeper than me in the business because they family been in it and they understand the plight of a driver. But that's not everybody. Majority of people nowadays, the market's so fickle. They're just getting this to make a dollar, turn a profit. They don't care about. It's this girl online. She talking about dispatching. She's in Atlanta, and she just showing her body. I'm a dispatcher, y'all. And I'm like, bro, like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? But yeah, go ahead, Marcus. I'm
Having a
waiting.
CD, having a, I got my CDL. Having a CDL, I feel like it did help me as an owner. I don't feel like having a CDL has helped me on the business side. It has helped me on understanding what drivers are going through. Okay, I feel like that's where it helped me, and because I've done it and I have my CDL, you get respect from drivers. So there is a benefit to having a CDL. Okay, but now I'm gonna ask you this. I'm always gonna play devil's advocate because we have a good conversation, right? Was the creator of Starbucks? Did he start making coffees himself?
Probably not,
No.
but
That's what I.
my
Yeah.
rebuttal to that is some of these old school trucking companies that was started by the father, like Swift, DM Bowman,
JB Hunt.
Yeah.
JB Hunt,
Yeah. But
so that's why I'm saying.
that's a different time.
Yeah.
We're in a time now to where people just got money and they're putting it into things like trucking and stuff like
Yeah,
that. They don't have.
man.
They're looking at it. It's more of a business, whereas
Mm-hmm.
back in the day it was really more of a
Yeah,
lifestyle, and
culture thing.
they just had enough people doing it, and then they started a trucking company. But
Yeah, yeah.
as a business, do I think you need a CDL before you start a trucking business? No. But do I think you need to have a degree in trucking before you start a trucking business? Yes. Now
Well,
that's what
y'all know me.
that's what
Y'all
I
know
think.
me. I'm gonna say you need a CDL.
Yeah, no, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I guess I have my CDL, so I definitely see the benefit. But you know, what like I said, we talk about CDL school, right? You got your CDL, or we got our CDLs because we went to CDL school. What did CDL school teach us? How to drive the truck.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
It's not like we went to CDL school. They was like, okay, now we got a whole other section on this trucking business.
yeah.
Now you can say my CDL has some good value because I've learned about the trucking business from CDL school. You see what
Right,
I'm saying?
right,
So that's
right.
when your CDL becomes valuable as far as saying now you can, now you can have a better rebuttal because you're like, hey, I learned about the trucking business in CDL school.
Yeah, yeah.
I've learned about these things.
Right, right. And the person that's commenting, Jay Williams, y'all, that's one of my good friends. He's been in the industry for a while, and he got a lot of knowledge about it too. He got a few trucks out there, and he's actually in your position, Marcus. So
Yeah,
y'all two got a lot of good things to y'all
yeah.
can relate to.
But
I
that's
just wanted to shout him out.
but that's the thing. Like I said, that's the thing. I think there needs to be more education, and that's the reason why we have Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lack of education. Whether you're, a truck driver, you use CDL school to learn how to drive the truck. Okay, cool. But then you still need to learn a lot of things that's in the industry that affects you as a truck driver. And then now you
Yeah,
want to become an owner operator. So that's a whole nother thing you need to learn. Becoming an owner operator, what to expect to become an owner operator. How do you do it the right way without failing? Okay, now you're owner operator. You did it. You know how to survive owner operator. Now you want to start a company. How do I be able to start a company and do it the right way? Who do I talk to that's other company owners that can help me, not step on these landmines that's out there, right? So it all comes down to education. You
right.
gotta be willing to learn before you earn, right? You got to be able to be like, hey, I wanna know this before I step into it. Not I'm gonna step into it now. I need some help. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's
yeah. I
like
think
it's too late.
right, right. I think if people took that route, went to CDL school and then just like the route you just said, Marcus, went to
Yeah,
CDL school, got their CDL, became a company driver, then bossed on up and started becoming an owner operator, and then
right.
guess what? Now they got their own fleet, and
But
because my
you know how you talk about those legacy big
Mm-hmm.
companies. That's how they
yeah,
started. That's how they started.
yes,
They were truck
yes,
drivers. They became an owner operator. Then they moved up and made a company. And so you see the proof is in the pudding.
yeah,
If you're willing to, But what people don't understand in today's age is it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
right,
It
right,
takes
right,
time. You're not gonna
right,
just become an owner operator and make millions.
Mm-hmm.
right,
It takes time. There's sometimes you're gonna have to decrease a couple times and then increase and then decrease and then increase.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And people
yeah,
don't understand that. It takes time to get to that point like those legacy companies. It takes time,
right,
you know? It takes time to get the 5 trucks. Now you want to get the 10, 20. It takes time. People
mm-hmm.
get in this industry trying to make an instant lick, and that's why they fail.
Yeah, yeah. That's
You
why
don't
I
want to learn
listen.
nothing. You want to listen off of Joe Blow off of Instagram, or you think you bought a $10,000 course, you gonna win off of that.
Yeah,
Bro, you still gotta put the time in.
right,
Yeah.
It's entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Every business that we talk about, it's time. It takes
right,
time. These businesses, you look at who I was looking at something like Amazon, 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Starbucks, 30 years.
mm-hmm.
McDonald's, 50 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these things take time, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, I feel like that's predominantly what separates some successful companies and people who just quit and they have bad companies. It's just perseverance. We've heard Steve Jobs say that, but I look at some people, and I know we all do this, who probably, let's say 40 and 50, and they're probably in worse position than us. And we're like, what the hell did you do for the last 30 years?
Yeah,
You just fucked off the last 40 years?
yeah,
Because the truth of the matter is, we both know this. If you're just consistent over 20, 10 years, bro, it's hard to be consistent in a week. But that's what these companies have. They have a 10 year of consistency that they can go off of to build a legacy.
you know, I make a thing where social media, right? I've only been on social media for 4 months, 4 or 5 months, right? And I'm like, but then you start to look at these other people like, man, how they get to like this so fast? But then you look when they started. Like this
yeah,
dude started 10 years ago.
yeah,
This this
Mm-hmm.
this person got 1,300 posts. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But you think it's an instant success. But you looking at it, I'm a researcher, so I research like, damn, this dude been doing it for 10 years,
yeah.
strong for 10 years.
CDL, how long you been doing YouTube?
Man, I got in YouTube in 2021.
Okay.
2021, and when you talk about time markets, like first of all, YouTube is a grind, right?
Right.
So when I first started out, I only started out with 43 subscribers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting out content like nobody business. I was pumping it out. And I got discouraged. And my brother, I never forget, I told my brother about it, and my brother actually picked me up because yeah, he said, you might only have 43. He said, but that's a strong 43. You know, those 43's been with you since day one.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about time, like Marcus did, so I'm almost at 50,000. I'm at 49.1 thousand, right? On YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bro, I literally just got that like 8 months ago.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It takes time. My Instagram, I've been on Instagram since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I just got up to 11.3 thousand followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That takes time. I literally just got all those followers from that one video that y'all seen that did 1 million
Wow.
views. That's where all those followers came from.
It
Wow.
takes
I went in the
takes
hospital for
one.
my heart. I went in the hospital for my heart transplant at the beginning of April, April 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
I only had 900 followers. I
I
got
was
out.
following you then. I remember this.
Which
I made
Yeah,
a point to follow you.
which video was it? Which one was it?
it was the one talking about the port workers.
Yep.
It was actually a week before the port shut down.
And,
I was one of the first social media people to actually report on it, and man, that thing just caught fire.
Yeah, it did. It
That
did.
thing
How many
caught
views?
fire,
How many
huh?
views it got now, bro?
I don't know. I haven't checked it in a while.
I seen like a 1.2 last time I seen it.
Yeah, but also my YouTube. That's how my YouTube did, man. My YouTube last year, around this time, I had put a short up, a 60-second clip of me training somebody.
Uh-huh.
That did 1 million views. That's how I got my YouTube up.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
So it takes time. It takes
Yeah.
time. Time. It takes time.
That's what I talked with my wife, and she was like, you just one video away. That's what she always tells
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
You one video
Yep.
away. She
Yeah.
was like, you one video away. And
I live.
that's how you gotta look at it with the social media. But you can't, there's no such thing as I'm gonna make this perfect video and it's gonna blow
Yeah.
up. You can't have
Right.
that mind frame.
Yeah.
You just gotta put
Right.
content up there,
Yeah.
bro. Just flood it. That's what I do. You see how much I post. I'm
You
five,
put me
six,
on that,
7 times a
Marcus.
day.
You
Huh?
guys are both inspiration. You put me on something, and CDL, what I like about you specifically, you know, there's no shade of Marcus because I got love for Marcus. I followed Marcus way before I was messaging Marcus. He wouldn't message me back, but that's a whole nother story. But
That's because
he was like, I got enough people in
got
here.
on. I'm like, man, how do I do this?
But CDL, I think the people who we had conversations with talk about these personalities, bro. You gonna end up, and I'm prophesizing, you gonna end up with more followers than these dudes, bro. And when you
Mm.
do, you know, it ain't all fun with it to the rap when the rapper got the gun.
Yeah.
And you can be, you know, that's where it's
I'm glad
going with it.
he with Parliament now.
I'm telling you, bro. I've seen
I'm glad,
CDL,
he,
bro. Earlier with this year, he had like 400 something followers. I was seeing that because I remember like, wow, he got all these YouTube followers, but I don't care about that. I only got 400 followers. I know eventually because your personality and what you was putting out, I said, my bro gonna blow. And I see that foresight. Same thing with you. When I met you, Marcus, your Instagram came off my page was saying new and hot. I'm like, damn, this dude putting a lot of Trump content. Damn, I'm tapping in. I'm like, okay. And then Marcus, he just was authentic as hell. So that's why it worked out for me and him.
Yeah. So
yeah,
one of the things that I live by, right, is not to cut you off, Marcus, but Deion Sanders, he has a thing, a video that he put out a while ago. And in the video, he says this. He says, I know the spotlight is not on you. I know nobody's not talking about you right now, but keep making plays. He says that. He says, keep doing what you're doing. Keep making plays. One day, the spotlight going to be on you. So when I used to get discouraged that I would put out a bomb ass video in my mind. I'd be like, "Oh, this video gonna do numbers. I love it."
Yeah.
Man, only 100 people watch it, 87
Yep.
people, and I would get discouraged. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? I kept going.
Mm-hmm.
I keep going.
and that's exactly what it is. And you when you putting out things. Oh shit! I gotta go to this meeting. When you putting out before I leave, when you putting out things and you just putting out to be authentic,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? You're not putting out to be a social media star. You're not putting it out for somebody's entertainment. You know, like I told my buddy when I've been doing this and I started, I said my thing is education over entertainment. I'm not gonna be dancing. You know, I probably did one skit and I was like, that shit corny. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, that's just not me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just like if you're authentic, bro, and you do everything from the goodness of your heart and you really trying to help this industry,
Yeah.
people gonna gravitate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you one video away. You're
Yes.
one video away from making it to where you want to be.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, but I got to end that on that because I got to go to this. I'm late for this meeting.
All right. Once again, I'm sorry I was late. I was on a business call. So
It's okay.
Are you good? But I'll talk with you guys. Send me that video.
For sure.
And Alante, send me your address too.
All right.
I'll send you a hat.
All right.
Be
CDL
blessed.
Shorty.
It's Freight Fridays, guys. Thanks for everything. God bless. We out.
All right. Talk to y'all.